Welcome to Tuesday's first video. Breaking news is from Afghanistan, where top man of Al Qaeda has been killed in a drone strike. No confirmation from Afghan or Al Qaeda side, but US President Joe Biden, in a video message a few hours ago, confirmed the death of Ayman Al Zawahiri, who has been leading Al Qaeda for years, and we know that Al Shabaab, extremist group operating in Somalia and in border areas of Ethiopia and Kenya, pledged allegiance to Al Qaeda in 2012. What impact will Ayman Zawahiri's death will have on Al-Shabaab's capabilities in the Horn of Africa? We'll have a look at that. Secondly, we have a new story about US-Taiwan tensions. Nancy Pelosi is due to arrive in Taiwan in coming hours, and before that, an important development is being seen. Almost all flights departing Fujian province of China have been cancelled. Where is this Fujian province? A few days ago, Chinese military assets were seen being mobilized towards Fujian. Fujian is just 100 kilometers away from Taiwan. What is happening there? Why is that flights have been cancelled? Thirdly, we have a new story from Ethiopia, where armed militia, its faction, Gondar faction, a few hours ago released a statement. We know that Amhara Fano militia is under crackdown. Thousands of its fighters have been arrested. And this militia consists of several factions. Gondar faction was not under crackdown as much as Bahirdar Gajam faction was under crackdown. And this faction is led by Massafint. Reportedly, this Fano faction has been forced to issue this statement because it is being said that Gondar Fano is in alliance with the government. What is Gondar Fano saying now? Fifthly, another news about Amhara region. Amhara activists are on hunger strike in London. One was taken to a hospital 3 days ago. Another was shifted to a hospital a few hours ago. And lastly, viewers, Eritrean diaspora community organized a festival, 3-day long festival in Stockholm, Sweden. We have details for you of the funds collected, how much money was raised in 3-day long Eritrean festival. It seems that Eritrean diaspora community generously donated, and we have numbers for you how much money has been donated and how much money has been raised by the organizers of this festival. Firstly, breaking news is from Afghanistan, where Al Qaeda's top man has been killed. Ayman Al Zawahiri was the founding member of Al Qaeda, formed in 1988. Osama bin Laden and Ayman Al Zawahiri were two founding members when this organization was formed. It launched its operations in Africa, in South Asia, Central Asia as well, in Middle East, and then this group was blamed for 9/11 attack in the US, in which thousands were killed. This organization had links, close ties with Afghanistan's Taliban. In 1990s, the Taliban seized power in Afghanistan. Osama bin Laden shifted to Afghanistan, and he led this group from Afghanistan. Then 9/11 happened, and US demanded the custody of Osama bin Laden from a Taliban government. Taliban government led by Mullah Omar refused to hand over Osama bin Laden. US then launched a military offensive on Afghanistan. NATO countries participated too for 2 decades. US tried to wipe out Taliban and Al Qaeda, but US never succeeded in taking control of more than 50% of Afghanistan. Large territories of Afghanistan remained under the control of Taliban fighters. US had to withdraw, NATO had to withdraw, and last year we know that Taliban came back to power. Kabul, Afghanistan's capital, came back under Taliban control. Before that, we know that in 2011, Osama bin Laden was tracked in Pakistan. He was killed in Abbottabad, Pakistan, by Americans who launched an operation against bin Laden. After bin Laden, Al Qaeda was led by this man, Ayman Al Zawahiri. He's basically Egyptian. He remained in prison in Egypt for some time after the killing of Egyptian President Anwar Sadat. He was released by profession. He was a doctor. He used to treat Osama bin Laden. Then he developed ties with Osama bin Laden and he became number 2 man in Al Qaeda. After Osama bin Laden's death, Ayman Al Zawahiri led this group. Now he has been killed. How was he killed? Because we know that last year US troops withdrew from Afghanistan after 2 decades of fighting. Donald Trump, former president, started the withdrawal of US troops from Afghanistan. Joe Biden continued this policy, and last year almost all US troops withdrew from Afghanistan. But US maintained its position, its presence, military presence close to Afghanistan. In some neighboring countries, there is military presence of US Army, and it is very likely that from some neighboring country this drone strike was launched. Ayman Al Zawahiri was located in Kabul in a safe house. How did he arrive in Kabul? Because he was not allowed to be in Afghanistan as per an agreement reached between US and Taliban last year. US withdrew from Afghanistan, but US reached an agreement with Taliban of Afghanistan that Taliban will not allow Al Qaeda leaders to be based in Afghanistan. But somehow Ayman Al Zawahiri was tracked, he was found in Afghanistan, and some say that he was there because Taliban government, some factions in Taliban government, they still back Ayman Al Zawahiri, Al Qaeda. So a drone strike was conducted. 2 Hellfire missiles were fired at a safe house in Kabul, capital of Afghanistan. And Joe Biden, US President, in a video message has confirmed the death of Ayman Al Zawahiri. No statement from Al Qaeda so far. Afghan government has confirmed that a residential building in Kabul was attacked. A strike was conducted in Kabul, but Kabul did not confirm the death of Ayman Al Zawahiri. Let's see. Now, who will be the next leader and what impact will it have on Al-Shabaab, armed group, extremist group, which pledged allegiance to Al Qaeda in 2012? And Al-Shabaab is operating in Somalia, in border areas of Ethiopia, Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya. His next Al-Qaeda's commander could be Saif al-Adl. Saif al-Adl was seen in Iran some time ago. Is he in Iran or in some African country? It's not clear. but he is being seen as the new Al Qaeda leader. What about Al Shabaab? Will Ayman Al Zawahiri's death have any impact on Al Shabaab's capabilities? Al Shabaab was not dependent on Al Qaeda. Al Shabaab has its own source of funding. Rather, it funds other groups in Africa, it is said. So, Ayman Al Zawahiri's death will not have any serious impact on Al Shabaab's capabilities. And this man, Saif Al Adal, if he is the new Al Qaeda leader, it can lead to Al Qaeda's growth in Africa, because this man has been operating reportedly in Somalia and Yemen in the past. So he knows the area and he is well acquainted with the groups here. So if, let's see, will Saif al-Adal be the new head of Al-Qaeda or not, that remains to be seen. US government says that it's a huge blow to Al-Qaeda and it's a success in the war on terror, and that it's a huge relief for the families of 9/11 victims who have been demanding justice. Laden was killed and now Ayman Al-Zawahiri has been killed, and US says that both these, Osama and Ayman, they were masterminds of 9/11 attack in US. Secondly, we have a new story about US, China growing tensions over Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. Nancy Pelosi, US House Speaker, is visiting Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, and she is due to arrive in Taipei, Taiwan in coming hours. Taiwanese news sources have confirmed that Nancy Pelosi will visit Taiwan. China is warning that it will take military action. China a few days ago conducted military drills close to Taiwan, and now we have a new update for you that all flights leaving Fujian province of China have been cancelled. Where is this Fujian province? A few days ago, Chinese military assets were seen being mobilized towards Fujian. Fujian is just around 90 to 100 miles away from Taiwan. Taiwan is an island, and between Taiwan and Fujian there is Pacific Ocean water, and we know that Chinese aircrafts have been breaching Taiwanese air defense. We have seen some flights in recent months, and now when Nancy Pelosi is due to arrive in Taiwan, all flights from Fujian have been cancelled. You can see on the map Fujian, and you can see Taiwan as well. So this narrow strip of water between Fujian and Taiwan, just 100 kilometers away is Fujian from Taiwan. What is going to happen if all flights from Fujian have been cancelled? It means that military action is not out of question. It can happen, and if China decides to stop Nancy Pelosi from landing in Taiwan, what next? Because US has also mobilized its forces towards Taiwan. US with some other countries like Australia is conducting naval maneuvers involving thousands of Marines close to Taiwan these days. Only question is, will Pelosi really visit Taiwan or not? And if it happens, will China take any action, military action? Pelosi will be on board US Air Force plane. She won't be flying to Taiwan by a passenger flight. definitely she'll be using some US Air Force plane. So if Chinese fighter jets try to stop Nancy Pelosi's plane, what will happen? Let's see. Two news stories from Ethiopia, viewers. Firstly, we know that Ethiopian activists from the Amhara ethnic group have been on hunger strike in London for around 2 weeks. Today is day 14. Female activists are there on hunger strike on Downing Street of London. 2 days ago, Judith Gideon, one activist, was shifted to a hospital. Later, she returned to the venue of the hunger strike. And a few hours ago, another lady, another activist on hunger strike, was taken to a hospital. Her name is Yayesh Yirad. You can see the picture on the screen when Yayesh Yirad was taken to a hospital from Downing Street of London. So, hunger strike is ongoing. Meanwhile, a protest is also being planned tomorrow. But so far, we have not seen any action, any media coverage of this hunger strike. International media has not covered it so far as extensively as some other large-scale demonstrations of Ethiopian diaspora community are covered by international media. Another news story about Ethiopia is about Amhara Fano militia, an armed group consisting of several factions which came under crackdown after the retreat of Tigray fighters from Amhara and Afar regions. 2 months ago, Ethiopian government, Amhara regional government decided to dismantle, you can say, those Fano factions which are not under government control. But not all factions have been targeted. Mainly Gajjam based Fano factions have been targeted. Gondar Fano was not put under an intense crackdown like we saw in Gajjam. Massafint issued some statements about action on Gajjam Fano. But Gondar Fano mostly was allowed to be intact. And a few hours ago, Gondar Fano released a statement. The statement is about Fano members in Bahirdar prison who have been granted bail but they're not being released. Why? Because security forces, federal security forces are outside a prison from where Fano fighters will be released in Bahirdar, and it is being planned that if they are released, they'll be re-arrested. Their family members, other Fano fighters, they are also outside the prison in Bahirdar. Tensions are there, and Gondar Fano today released a statement saying that those Fano fighters in Bahirdar who have been granted bail must be released. Otherwise, Gondar Fano will be forced to take action. So it's a warning from Gondar Fano. But is it just a statement? Will Gondar Fano walk its talk? Or is it just a statement? Because Gondar Fano has been criticized that it is silent while thousands of Gondar Fano fighters have been, Gajjam Fano fighters have been arrested, and almost no action has been taken against Gondar Fano faction. Let's see, will Massafint and other Gondar Fano commanders do something if Bahidar Fano fighters are released and re-arrested? Let's see. Lastly, viewers, a new story from Stockholm, Sweden, where Eritrean diaspora community organized a 3-day-long festival. Thousands attended this festival. Eritrean opposition groups tried to stop this festival. They could not stop. But in the last 2 days before the start of this festival, organizers have to make some makeshift arrangements. Ultimately, they succeeded in the organization of this festival, which was a success. Question is how much money was raised, because these Eritrean diaspora festivals are a source of funding for Eritrean government. Eritrean diaspora community generously supports Eritrean government, and Abul Said, Eritrean writer, author, also attended this festival, and he is known for his fiery pro-Eritrean government speeches. People were waiting for Abul Said. What happened? How much money was raised? Uh, According to some sources, 600k US dollars were raised in the 3-day festival. 600k. And 6,000 wheelchairs were donated for Eritrea by diaspora community. So you see that these diaspora festivals are a huge source of funding for Eritrean government. If one festival is raising 600k US dollars, imagine how many festivals organized across the world, in Europe, in US, throughout the year. It means that these festivals are a way of keeping Eritrean diaspora closely connected with Eritrean embassies abroad, because the diaspora contributes to Eritrean economy. We have not seen other African diaspora communities raise funds in such an organized manner throughout the year. Ethiopian diaspora community has been supporting Ethiopia, especially last year we saw that when Tigray forces were in Amhara Fano regions, diaspora communities in the US, in Europe did fund groups in Ethiopia against Tigray Defense Force. Tigrayans as well, they are funding Tigray government, Tigray Defense Force. But Eritreans have been doing it for years. That is why their festivals, their fundraising activities are more organized. Thank you for watching.